Hello, everyone. I'm back. Leachy's back. Podcast number 4 for the One Hit Wonder program. I know it's been a little time. Baseball season has started. I'm throwing my arm off in the batting cage. I feel like nightly, daily, but hey, I'm going to use it till I lose it. And today, I wanted to come on here and do this podcast because one of the kids I trained, I told him this story a while ago, and he's been bugging me about putting this on the podcast. So I'm going to dedicate this podcast today to my main man, Josh A., in regards to the things I want to talk about. Today, what I want to talk about is opportunities and the ability to go on and for baseball players to play at the collegiate level. So, as always, because I'm always looking at numbers, did you know that only 12.4% of high school players actually get the opportunity to play at the collegiate level? Think about that. All the kids playing high school. We're about to start up high school ball here in Sacramento, Northern California. I can think of all the high schools. I can think of my league that I played in. Only 12.4% of the kids actually get to move on and play at the D1, 2, 3, NAIA. I'm assuming that includes the JUCO level. So the numbers, it's slim. And of those players, only 2.3% get to go on and play at the Division I level. So just like trying to make it to the major leagues, playing D1 baseball is really, really, really tough. So as I tell some of the parents, the kids, hey, I know it might be great to go to Texas or University of Arizona or even Pepperdine where I went. But the key is if you want to play at that next level, go where you can get on the field. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to go somewhere and say you were there and you sat on the bench. I hope not. So go where your ability takes you and get on the field. Okay, now my story today, this is sad, and I probably should have hit my brother up. Shout out Germani. Before I did this, but life is moving fast, just to see if he remembered the kid's name. Not that that's important, but he may remember the kid's name. I'm just gonna, for sake of this privacy and not putting the kid on blast, because I don't know where he is today. I wish I did. But I'm just going to call the kid, I'm going to give him the name Sean Smith. And back in the day when we had our baseball mentoring program, our baseball school here in Sacramento and Natomas, California, from 2004 to 2019, we did a little bit of everything from lessons to conditioning to travel teams. All the stuff you see today, we were doing it in the early stages. We even had the hit tracks before anybody had hit tracks. And I told the guy that invented hit tracks that he was on something and one day it would blow up. And look at it now. I think it's on a Dick's Sporting Good commercial every now and again. And it's all around the world. So we were, at the forefront of the baseball school, I think in Northern California and on the West Coast. And, we were just all about giving kids, the knowledge we had gained and from the training aspect. And then the parents talked us into doing teams. And so we did teams. I think we had them from 10U all the way up to 18U. So me and my brother, we lived at that facility every night. So a part of our program also was to help our high school age boys go on and hopefully get an opportunity to play in college. And I mean, we got the biggest kick out of taking them to tournaments to Georgia, Arizona. We went to the College World Series one year, Omaha. Anywhere where we could find Arizona Junior Fall Classic, where we could find recruiters, scouts, college coaches. We wanted to give our kids as much exposure as possible. And one of the young men we had in our program, me and my brother loved him. He had a really good arm. And like I said, I'm going to call him, his name's going to be Sean Smith. He was a left-hand pitcher from the area, threw the ball really well, had a good body. He was projectable. He was very, very projectable. Just like, here's a side story. Chris Flexen, the current major leaguer, pitching, where was Flex last year? I think with the White Sox. He's been around a little bit. We coached him as a youth. His mom brought him to us as a youth. And they were adamant that he was a shortstop. And we saw him throw, me and my brother, and we saw his physical build. And we said, no, he is 100% a pitcher. So when Flex got drafted out of high school down there in the South Bay, his mom, even though we bumped heads, called us and said he was drafted by the New York Mets. I believe it was in the 19th round. And Chris doesn't want to go. I think he was going on scholarship to Arizona State University. He had no interest in that. And he wanted to play pro ball. And I said, hey, it's not my business. But if the financial part of it, what they're offering from the team, if that's something you guys can, it can work, because there's no guarantee he was going to make it, then I say go for it. And so, Chris did it, got in there, did his thing. He's still pitching. I don't know who he's going to be with this year, 2025, but it's worked out for him. And I'm proud and happy for him. But not to get off the main topic today, which is Sean Smith. Sean, like I said, was this left-hand pitcher that we knew could pitch in college. And so our whole thing wasn't about winning tournaments. Those trophies that we had, who only knows where they are today, they just were dust collectors that I had to clean and dust off. I got the most excitement when I saw the kids get opportunities to go on and play in college. That was huge for me and my brother and the coaches we had in our program back then. So Sean, who I believe at the time was a junior, maybe a rising senior, we went and played a tournament down in I think it was the San Jose area. It might have been a game, not even a tournament. And we knew a coach at a certain college who we had been telling him about, and we finally were able to get him out to watch Sean pitch. It was like the perfect storm, because these recruiting coordinators, these guys are like scouts. They got to go find talent, and, there's games going on all the time, everywhere, every day. I mean, you got to find players. So we finally got this guy to come over and watch Sean pitch. Me and my brother might have been more nervous than Sean. Sean's parents are there. And we said, hey, Sean is starting, and we're going to let him do his thing. We didn't give two rats about winning and losing that game, because we knew he could pitch at this college. So Sean started, and he carved. I mean, he was one up, two up, three up, sit down. I mean, he rolled through 5 innings like there was no tomorrow. Me and my brother over there talking on the side, going, yeah, he's got to want him. He's got to want him. Game ended. I don't know if we won or lost. We didn't care, but we knew Sean had done his thing. So we brought the coach over to meet Sean and his folks. And, this was tough, because the coach was excited to meet him. He loved the way he pitched. All the stars had lined up, and he said, hey, man, I really like the way you throw the ball. Jalal Jamani had been telling me about you, and, man, I'd like to figure out a way to get you to our school. And we were all like, yeah, that's it. This is it, the connection. But the coach had one question. He said, Sean, what's your GPA looking like? It got silent. Then Sean spoke. He said, it's 1.8. Well, me and my brother looked at each other. We looked at his parents. We looked back at the coach, and the coach said, sorry, I love your arm, but I can't get you into my school with a 1.8 grade point average. So you can't come right now. And it was crushing, because we saw the parents. They were hopeless, helpless. Mandramani couldn't do anything, and just Sean had the Gumby shoulders. There's nothing he could do, and it was sad, because it was like he had the golden ticket in his hand, And because he didn't apply himself off the field, in the classroom, it didn't matter. He couldn't move on to that next level. And, we've had a lot of kids over the years and it gets murky and my memory comes and goes. But that was a sad day. And I don't know what happened to Sean. After that, I don't know if he hung around much more, but I know he was embarrassed, because he just hadn't applied himself in the classroom like he did on the ball field. And then my brother and I, we took some of the blame because we thought, man, we should have checked his grades. We should have asked him about his grades before we brought this coach out there to watch him throw. But we're baseball guys. We're not academics. So when we brought the coach out, all we're thinking is if this kid does what we think he can do, he can pitch at that school. No doubt. And he did it. But the main component to play at the collegiate level, them grades. So from that day forward, and I still do it to this day, and that's why I'm dedicating this to my man Josh A., is just as hard as you practice at practice with your trainer, this, that, and the other, got to hit them books. Because you have to have those core curriculum classes to get into such and such college. You may need to have a certain score on your SAT, your ACT. It's real. It's a real thing. And all I could say is, to the ball players out there aspiring to go on and play at the collegiate level, not only, are you up against those odds that I said earlier, you got to have the grades. And for me, in life, you need to have the grades because, even if you make it to the major leagues and you become a superstar, you got to, if you paid attention to school, you learn how to add and subtract. You want to at least know how much money you have coming in and going out. So you can't just be all about the sport and not understand that there's more to life than just that sport. So with this, I just wanted to tell that story and just let everyone know, even the parents that are, hoping, praying, maniacal about their kids going on and playing at the collegiate level, make sure he or she has the grades, because if not, we're going to have Sean Smith 2.0, 3.0 over and over and over. And those college coaches, they have rules. And if you can't fit into the rules, they're just going to go somewhere else. So that's all I have to say and what I want to do. And I know this podcast has seemed kind of short, but I wanted to tell this story today because Josh A., who I see on a regular basis, he said, Leachy, I want to hear that on your podcast because it motivated him. And I wanted to not just motivate him, but any other athlete that's out there that's just all about their sport and not giving that same effort in the classroom. So ball players, hit them books just as hard as you hit that baseball, shoot that jumper, or catch that football pass, whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, the only way you can move on to that collegiate level is you gotta have grades. Until next time, it's raining here in Northern California, so let's drive one indoors. Keep practicing, keep your eye on the ball, and let's get this. Thanks for listening. Podcast number 5 in the works in my brain. Have a good day. Peace out.